Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Seekers of things, igniters of the future. It is Monday afternoon, so I'm sure everybody's pretty tired. We're going to try to keep it lively. We're going to move super fast because at the last count, I think I saw 71 slides, and we have 44 minutes to get through them. This session is What's New and What's Next. I'm Bill Baer. I'm a product manager for Search and AI at Microsoft, and joining me is...
I'm Robin Thomas, and I'm a group product manager for Microsoft Search.
I let people introduce themselves, otherwise I'll have terrible things to say about them. All right, what are we going to cover today? One, we're going to talk about some of the upcoming innovation across Microsoft 365 apps and services. We have way too much to cover in a single session. That's why we have a learning path for search. Hopefully many of you subscribe to it. Yes? Just a few of you? That's sad. But anyway, we have Search 20, 30, 40, and 50, all of these sessions throughout the week to further educate you on Microsoft Search. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about all of the forward-looking awesomeness that's coming between now and early 2020. So why is search important in the first place? I'm not going to read this slide. This is an eye chart for you. The question I'd like to ask is how many people have misplaced their car keys? Come on, I know all of you have done it. How many people have misplaced a wallet, a purse, a clutch, anything? So the first thing that you generally do is you try to retrace your steps. You say, okay, I came home from work, I walked into the kitchen, I got a cup of coffee, I played with the dog, talked to the kids, went into my office, maybe walked upstairs, maybe walked out to the garage. What you're doing is searching. You're continually refining. So your first query was, where did I put my keys? And then you started to retrace your steps. Where did I put my keys and kitchen? Where did I put my keys and bedroom? Where did I put my keys and... So you're continually refining until you ultimately, hopefully, find your keys. That's an example of classic search, what I would refer to as those recovery scenarios. Microsoft Search is fundamentally different. It's a discovery scenario. We know where you put your keys, and we're going to show you where you put your keys. And the reason that we're doing that is, as I mentioned, the workplace is changing. We are inundated by the amount of data that's getting created and recreated and updated and modified and versioned and forked. And 59% of people are missing information on a day-to-day basis as related to one study. In addition to that, you're spending about 20% of your time looking for things. So let's put that 20% into context. Assume that you're a manager and you've hired 5 people on your team. Assuming that 20% of your time is searching for things, that means you've actually only hired 4 people on your team because that 5th person is spending an inordinate amount of time trying to find things. So that just kind of puts it into context about how much productivity is lost by going out and trying to seek things. And then if you think about the rate at which data is growing, one IDC study said 44% between now and 2020, and 2020, by my count, is not that far away. And then 76% of that data is unstructured data. What is it? It's files, it's media, it's presentations, it's a ton of stuff. And the world right now is investing in intelligent technology. Recognizing these problems, the fact that people are missing information, that people are searching and searching and searching yet can't find, the fact that data is growing and growing and growing exponentially. So organizations are saying, you know what we need to do? We need to invest in intelligent technologies to try to solve this problem. So if you look at the industry, $52 billion, cognitive services and AI by 2020. Almost $18 billion with computer vision and $58 billion in machine learning by 2021. So the market is ripe with opportunity from a search and AI, a discovery perspective. So where does Microsoft Search fit in? Microsoft Search fits in everywhere. Microsoft Search is ubiquitous. It's not limited to just a single entry point. It's across all of our Microsoft 365 apps and services. So effectively, it cuts across M365, including Bing and Edge, to which you've heard a lot about today. So our vision is one cohesive search experience, a ubiquitous search experience that spans our apps and services. So whether you're searching in Bing or Office.com, we're going to surface up great, relevant results for you at the right time, with the right information. So let's go ahead and talk about what's new in Microsoft Search. Assuming many of you have been following the work that we've been doing over the course of the past year, that were here with us at the 2018 Ignite, One, we announced in May at Build and subsequently at our SharePoint conference the general availability of personalized search across Office 365 or Microsoft 365. So we made Microsoft Search available in Bing, in Office.com, in SharePoint Mobile, in Outlook Mobile, in the Office clients, as well as Office Online and OneDrive in the web. A visual cue to understand as to whether or not you have Microsoft Search available to you is the prominence of the search bar. We took the search bar, moved it from the application canvas, and right up into the suite bar. So once you see that search pop up in the header, you know you have Microsoft Search. So let's go ahead and just dive right in, considering we're down to 39 minutes. What's new for Microsoft Search with Office? And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each of these entry points, what's new. At the end of the session, we're going to talk about what's next, and we're going to do a ton of demos throughout the course of this afternoon. So one, we're bringing the power of Microsoft Search to Office Online as well. So not only the Win32 clients, those desktop clients that you all know and love and use on a day-to-day basis, we're also bringing it to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint Online. We're bringing in spelling suggestions and recommendations, so effectively the concept of did you mean. You're probably familiar with that today if you are using a search engine. I'm not going to mention any names, but if you are using any particular search engine, you've probably searched for something and you've received a did you mean prompt. And that could be correcting a spelling error. It could be correcting the spelling of somebody's name of prominence that the search engine understands. It could just be making recommendations based on what you were seeking. In addition to that, we're also adding new people relevancy experience as well through people search relevancy. So fuzzy matching, the ability to search across nicknames, and natural language, which is one of my favorite things that you're going to see here soon. And then a super cool thing that we're going to introduce as well as semantic search. And not only will semantic search be available in Office, it'll also be available in Bing and SharePoint as well. If you read our blog on the tech community this morning, there's a link there to where you can sign up for our preview of semantic search. And then lastly, acronym search. How many people work at Microsoft that are in the room? So you probably know how important acronym search is working at Microsoft, because we have an acronym for everything, and sometimes we have 3 acronyms for everything. Acronym search is powerful, particularly if your organization uses a lot of acronyms. So with that said, semantic search in Microsoft Office. What is semantic search? One, it's getting answers in context. So a great example of semantic search capabilities in Office would be you're searching for something in your corporate intranet. Perhaps you're searching for, can I hire my cousin? Well, can I hire my cousin might not return the best of results inside of your organization. However, we're able to apply semantic understanding and understand the intent of your search. So what we're going to surface up for you in response to that natural question that you're asking search, we're going to find conflict of interest policies that exist inside of your organization. Very similarly, if you search for where can I charge my Tesla, we're going to understand the semantics of that and surface up electric vehicle charging stations inside of the organization. But it goes beyond just that semantic understanding. We also apply machine reading comprehension to it. So we can look across documents. We can find the right paragraph that best responds to your question and deliver it as an answer inside of the SharePoint, Office, and Bing canvases. And we're also going to show you some demonstrations to where we're bringing that downstream to our Office clients as well. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and let Robin take it away and show you some demos.
Thanks, Bill. So I'm going to show you demos across a number of the different clients that we talk about when we think about Microsoft Search. Really, you should think about these features meeting you where you are. So if you love Bing, we're going to bring the best of search there. If you're a SharePoint person or an Office.com person, we're going to bring the best experiences there. So as you see these, start to think about these showing up across these different experiences. Okay, so here's the setup. Last week, I was at a corporate offsite. We had a breakout, and I met a guy named Grady. Later on, I wanted to follow up with him. I didn't get his last name, didn't get his alias, but I know that I can go to the search bar and start typing. And so I'm going to go ahead and just put in what I know about him. And in this case, I know he was a designer. And so I can just type in something I know about him. So in this case, it's designer. I find the Grady that I'm looking for. Now let's make that a little bit harder. So I want to look for Alan, who I met, who I knew who works in building 2. Now this is cool because one, it's going to pull the location off and figure out that there's only one building, or there's only one Alan in building 2. But if you'll notice, I also misspelled the name. So we're actually doing spell corrections in line to try and find you the most likely match for what you're looking for. Okay, so let's head back and say that I wanted to meet Megan in marketing. And so I put that in. In this case, I just hit enter, and so I'm going to see this great people card. So for those of you who have seen some of these presentations before, you'll recognize this card. It's really trying to bring the best of what we think you need to take action for this person. So you'll see the usual stuff around their address, their contact info, a little peek into their calendar, maybe something we're working on. So I see Megan works in Building 2, and great, I want to go meet Megan, but we have a large campus. I don't really know where Building 2 is. I can simply click here, and this will take me into a map that actually shows me where in Building 2 her office actually is. So it's a great little interactive map, and I can orientate myself coming off the elevator. But I don't even realize where Building 2 is. So I can click right through there, and it'll take me into a big maps experience where I can navigate from wherever I'm coming from. Now, I could have actually just typed Megan's office directly. And in this way, it's actually figuring out what is the best Megan match for me. In my company, we probably have hundreds of Megans, and using our social graph and our sort of distance on that graph, we can decide what Megan is most likely the right Megan for you. All right, so as Bill said, acronyms is a big obstacle to knowledge transfer today. We use acronyms because we think we're saving time. Oftentimes, we're just making things worse. How many people have read Elon Musk's memo on acronyms? One person. Okay, it's a fantastic read. I call this the anti-Musk feature. He basically said no more acronyms in the company unless he approves them directly. And I think that it's an easier way for us to just make it easier for the system to learn what acronyms exist. So in this case, I did a search for what is RPA. Turns out in this company, it's a robotic process automation. Now, there's one interesting thing here. It's actually telling you the strongest document that it found that acronym out of. So we're mining the documents that you have access to. So in this case, it's everything within the company that my logged on user has access to. And it said, hey, without anybody actually saying this is the authoritative acronym, it's figured out enough context and enough samples that it feels like this is a strong recommendation that it stands for RPA. So I can use some different grammars here. So I can say define T, for example. And it's going to come back, and it's going to give me that same thing. All right, T. So T stands for text entity extraction. Makes good sense. I read up on it. I decide that I want to go meet with some people and actually figure out how I can incorporate it into my product. I'm going to switch demos here real quick, and I'm just going to do a search for T. So in this case, my demo tenant's a little sparse, so you're not going to actually see any content. But what you're seeing here is people who have said that their skill set, the things that you can ask them about, include T. So this is the ubiquitous people card that you've seen across many of the Office and Microsoft 365 experiences. And in this case, when I look at Lynn's people card, down here at the bottom, she's actually said, these are the topics that you can ask me about. So it's her way of sort of curating what she wants to be known for in the company, what she feels that she's an expert in, and it allows us to better connect experts with people who need to know. So I'm thinking, well, what's my brand in the company? I care about how I show up. So I'm going to hop over to Outlook here. Give it a sec for that to load. Again, you're going to see that same person card. But I'm going to look at my person card. And we're going to see a slightly different experience here. All right. So because I haven't really curated, my profile, there's really nothing on it. And so the profile card is actually suggesting me, it's prompting me to say, hey, would you like to go add some skills or topics so that you can start to curate how you show up in the company. Now I'm seeing something a little different. My topics are blank, like I said, but I'm actually seeing suggested topics. And these are things that the system has been able to mine about me, about the communication I write, about the documents I write, PowerPoint presentations. Basically, my contribution into the company is now being mined and suggested back to me. So I'm always in control. I could decide, wow, I don't know anything about NLP. Sure, I might have been on a couple of docs, but I'm really not an expert for that. But I'm definitely an expert for T, and I'm good in content management. So I can go ahead and approve those, and now those will start to show up for other people in the organization. So again, I get to curate the way that I show up in the company and sort of build my brand, if you will.
You guys are pretty quiet. Come on. It's okay. So one of the things that I probably like best.
I tell you what, Bill, I'm gonna interrupt you because I jumped ahead. Sorry.
That was rude, but I'll just let that go.
So Bill had a lead in on one of what I think is the most exciting things happening in search right now, which is this notion of semantic search, which is really just a fancy way of saying kind of human understanding of content and then human understanding of the query and then putting them together. And so today, this is a very, very bleeding edge sort of look, and so it's going to be a little bit of a screen walkthrough. But using that same Microsoft search bar at the top, we've actually entered in a semantic query. And so you would expect this to be able to do something useful, right? So as you type it in, we'll actually see a new flyout pane. If you've used the Office experiences before, you'll see that's familiar. We've added this new experience to bring in sort of semantic results. So up at the top right there, you'll see a hit that is both contextually relevant, but also semantically relevant. And it's really identified the passage in the document. And so you can see if I were to click on that, it would allow me to zoom right into that spot in the document. And again, really connecting what the human intent was with the best spot in the document, not just simply straight text match. All right, now it's your turn.
Awesome. That's actually one of my favorite demos for a couple of reasons. Is one, if you've searched in Word in the past, you've probably, again, kind of reverted to that traditional recovery experience. You're typing in help, you're clicking on the help button, you're clicking in the search bar, and all you're just trying to do is find something. But when you can effectively have a conversation with search and return the results from within the document or from within documents inside of your organization, that's when it gets really powerful. Also, how many people would classify themselves as SharePoint aficionados? Wow, quite a few of you, and you're not in Jeff's session. I'm going to let him know. But one of the things, if you think about some of the topic suggestions that Robin demonstrated, if you think about SharePoint, traditionally we've had this concept of My Sites, right, which evolved into OneDrive. And if you think about the way that skills are identified in that particular scenario, it's really self-nomination. I go out to a My Site and I add some skills, or I go out to my Delve profile and I add some skills. I say I'm proficient in C#, I'm proficient in Ruby, I'm proficient in Python. And I may have put those skills in 10 years ago. I may no longer have that same proficiency. But how often do you go back and clean them up? Very similarly with LinkedIn. You add your skills. It's self-nomination. Sure, you can have people endorse you for those skills. All of your best friends, of course, will endorse you for those particular skills. But really being able to mine that information is where it really gets powerful because it kind of removes that self-nomination dependency, but it also informs you as to those skills. So now that we've looked a little bit at Office, let's talk a little bit about SharePoint and OneDrive. We've got a ton of SharePoint and OneDrive experiences coming as well. Very similar to Office, we have spelling suggestions that are on the horizon. We also have the same great people search experiences that are coming to SharePoint as well. One of my favorites, search scoping controls in modern document libraries, lists, site hub, or in addition, the entire organization. Custom results pages in PNP are what's coming as well. Query alterations using our SharePoint framework for custom results. Semantic search, as I mentioned, is coming to SharePoint as well. If you want to get a jump start on that, check out the blog. We have a preview link available to where you can nominate your organization. And then lastly, the ability to connect Microsoft Search to your world of information beyond Microsoft 365 via our connector ecosystem. And you probably heard about that in a number of different places today. So diving right in, one of the cool things is Microsoft Search is coming to classic sites. So for all of you that are still running classic sites for any given reason, we're going to bring Microsoft Search to classic sites as well. So you'll get suggestions as you type. You're going to get instant answers, personalized results, results from across Office 365, as well as the ability to configure the search scope for either the site, your hub, or your tenant. We're going to do a few quick search demos on the SharePoint and OneDrive side, and then we're going to come back and look at a few more pieces of innovation that we're making. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Robin, and we'll take a look at some of this.
Okay, so let's switch personas here. So I work at a drone company. Drones are pretty exciting, and we're working on a new drone called the Mark 8. We're about ready to go to launch, and so I want to make sure things are ready for that. So I head to the search box, and I'm going to look for some knowledge base articles. Now, I don't really understand where our company manages our knowledge base. I just need to make sure that that content is there. Now, what you'll notice is there's a new vertical up there called ServiceNow. So prior to this point, Search admin has actually configured a ServiceNow connector to reach out into that cloud service and bring back that data into the Microsoft Graph. That allows us to run our best sort of tools and models on top of it and really bring it in as a first-class experience into our SharePoint experiences. So great, I want to go click on ServiceNow and see what kind of KB article, see if we're ready for the launch. So here you're seeing all these KB articles. So these are coming out of Microsoft Graph, but they're actually authored within ServiceNow. Now there's two interesting things happening behind the scenes here. One is search admins have gone in and able to configure result types. We call them modern result types, but if you're familiar with the SharePoint past, you'll know about result types. So it's a way to define an entity type. And then we've also used adaptive cards to map that into a visual layout. So as a search admin, I could make these look any way I want. So I could make them have a thumbnail, I could have additional metadata on it. It's really up to the business process that I'm trying to implement. But the adaptive cards, along with the modern result type, gives you complete control. Okay, great, that's one step. We had some product videos that we're getting ready to ship, and so I'm gonna go over there and see if those product videos. So on this new video, this new vertical called video, brings video into a first-class experience within SharePoint. So this is videos both within Microsoft Stream, as well as videos stored within ODSP. So this is great. I can see that we've got a couple of launch videos ready to go. I could click on these, and it would take me natively into the Microsoft Stream experience. Now, one last thing. I want to make sure we don't break any laws. I know that the drone laws are always changing. So I want to make sure that Lydia has been working on curating what the latest drone laws are. So I'm going to type in Lydia's name here. Now watch what happens when I pick her person. You'll actually see a little people, what we call a people pill, show up in the search box. And then the entire SERP, all the results within the search result page, are contextual around Lydia. So these are things that she has authored on or edited. And you'll see that I can keep typing. So I want to just add laws in there. And great, it does look like she's got some content there about the updated drone laws. So this is a really great way when you know exactly who the person is, and you really just want to put a person lens on your search experience. Thanks.
Awesome. Gonna have to motivate everybody here for a little bit. So let's go ahead and go back to slides. And again, we've got a lot of ground to cover. So what you just saw, one was connectors. Connectors allow you to connect, again, that world of information that lives outside of the boundaries of Microsoft 365. So we heard customers loud and clear at our last Ignite a little over a year ago that Microsoft Search is fantastic. It helps me find and discover everything I need, but I need to be able to bring it back to my disparate systems that exist within my organization, whether it's ServiceNow as demonstrated here, or Salesforce, or PeopleSoft, or WebSphere, file shares, Azure Data Lake, and more. You can ingest information from over 100 different disparate systems. We have a number of connectors available in preview starting now from Microsoft, as well as our great partners at BA Insight and Accenture and Raytheon that have been building connectors over the last several months in order to round out our ecosystem. And really what it allows you to do, as Robin said, is transform that information you have into actual insights. And that's the fundamental difference, being able to bring that information into the graph and get that useful information for discovery purposes. We also looked at expertise search a little bit, so effectively finding the individual who has the skill set that can help you complete any given task. So that's one of the most challenging things in the organization. As I mentioned before, my sites, LinkedIn, your Delve profile, it has a tendency to be static, and it also has, it's not necessarily representative of product truth. Because my profile says I'm proficient in Perl on LinkedIn. It's been a long time since I've done anything with Perl. So unfortunately, people find me via LinkedIn and they're like, hey, Bill, can you help me with this? And I just kind of scratch my head and look at it and say, I haven't done that in a decade. How did you find me? And it's because it's attributed to me. Being able to mine this information and keep it up to date to where it becomes more organic and representative of that true individual skills is really where the power comes in from a search experience. So Microsoft Search isn't just about finding stuff. Finding stuff is easy. You can look around and you can find stuff via any type of search experience. But effectively what search does is it becomes actionable. There's actually actions that exist in the context of search. So when you do find your result, there's something fundamentally that you can do with it, something tangible other than just finding it. Next up, again, finding videos. So more and more organizations are transitioning from documents and enormous PowerPoint presentations to forms of digital media, and that's really where the power of being able to not only discover video across Microsoft Stream, but those videos that have traditionally been stored in OneDrive and SharePoint. And if your organization's using SharePoint today, I'm pretty sure you probably cobbled together some kind of video experience inside of SharePoint. You probably have document libraries, you've probably downloaded something from GitHub, or way back in the day you found something on CodePlex and you cobbled together this kind of video media library solution inside of SharePoint. So the good news is we can help you find that too. And then also custom verticals and refiners. So after Ignite, we're going to deliver some capabilities so you can set up custom verticals, add your own refiners, and then even secondarily to that, you can create your own visualizations using adaptive cards. So we've got a ton coming from the SharePoint side. We're going to look at the roadmap here in a second. And again, as I mentioned, from a display templates perspective, we're making that shift towards adaptive cards. So we're really allowing you to modernize your search experience in line with us modernizing your search experience. I noticed a couple of people are taking pictures, so I'm going to slow down and let you do that. I'm not going to slow down too much, but I'm going to slow down a little bit. And then custom results pages. This is really kind of the key to everything. SharePoint has traditionally been an organization's kind of center of gravity when it comes to search. You've probably built a search portal on top of SharePoint. Raise your hand if you have. So you have custom results pages, you have these customizations, and that's one of the big asks that we've received with Microsoft Search, which is, I'd love to be able to move from Classic. I would love, to be able to retain some of the investments that I've already made. I want to deliver a search experience that doesn't change my users' expectation. Training is expensive. My users don't listen when I try to tell them that there's something new, and they kind of revert back to their old habits. So the ability to not only set up a custom results page that'll work for Classic as well as our modern search box will help. But then you can also use our SharePoint framework and its dev toolchain, which you're all probably familiar with, the Gulp, Yeoman, NPN, and beyond. So you'll be able to take advantage of that. You'll be able to use P&P web parts or build your own custom search results. So we have examples of that today if you want to get started. So starting today, you can go to github.com/Microsoft-search. So we have an org there. Not only will you find samples for SharePoint, but you'll also find samples for Office add-ins, Outlook add-ins, and more. And then you'll also be able to use our Graph API in addition, so you can really build on top of some of our other services as well. And then lastly, using our highlighted content, file viewer embed, and library web parts on your custom results page. So shifting gears from SharePoint into Outlook. We're introducing a ton of stuff into Outlook as well. How many people watched Satya's keynote? I'm sure all of you did. Some people just don't want to raise their hands this afternoon. That's okay. It's afternoon. You're fine. So you probably saw natural language search in Outlook as part of that keynote at a given point in time. So natural language search will be new to Outlook. This is actually one of my favorites because nobody likes typing from :Robin and hoping you actually find something. I want to know when's my next meeting with Robin. I want to know when or where can I find that PowerPoint presentation from Robin. So again, I don't want to kind of revert back to that traditional recovery experience to where I'm constantly refining to find things. I want to have a conversation with Search, and I want Search to give me things back. We'll also have a new search experience in Outlook for Windows, top results in Outlook for Windows, iOS, and Android, spelling suggestions again, so that's more or less ubiquitous to all of our entry points for search. Result suggestions as you type, whether that's files, events, or even emails. And then lastly, improvements to zero query. So effectively, search doesn't have to be typing. If you're tired of typing because you've been doing it all day, all you have to do is click in our little search box, and we're going to show you contextually relevant information to help you succeed at a given task. So let's just go ahead, switch to demo. We're going to take a look at a few of these things.
All right, so who thinks these demos have been pretty safe so far? Yeah, they've been pretty safe. So we're going to up it a notch and try and do some live natural language and see how that goes. All right, so this is a pre-release build of Outlook Mobile. It will be coming later next calendar year. And we're going to try just to do things a little more naturally. Actually, first, so Bill mentioned the from colon as a way that we used to have this thing called KQL or AQS. How many people know the second most popular property syntax for Outlook search? It is 2. But the silence in the room pretty much said the story. There's something like 25 or 30 different AQS expressions that users could have been typing for the last 10 years in Outlook, and the only thing we managed to teach them in that time was from colon. So let's go try and just make it a little bit more effortless. Emails from Megan. There you go. Let me make it a little bit more complicated. Emails from Grady about stickers. Emails from Megan from October. There we go. So that'll be coming to all of the Outlook experiences in the first half of next year. Okay, so switching into Outlook for the web. Misspelling is something which, a little embarrassing, has been around in web search for many years. So it's exciting for us to bring it here into the Outlook email search experience with a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to go ahead and search for something. And okay, that's not too surprising, right? I misspelled something. You get a did you mean. I could click on it. There's actually a little bit more intelligence happening here under the covers, which is we've actually personalized the speller based on the content in your inbox. And so if you have company code names that aren't common words in the English language, if you work with people whose name spelling is not common within that language, we'll actually learn from that. And we can give you spell suggestions into words that aren't in the normal language, or stop trying to suggest spell corrections where clearly it does make sense in the context of your inbox. So this is our way of sort of taking the spell corrections and really personalizing it and making it even more valuable for you.
That's awesome. By far, one of my favorite things is natural language. And because I'm one of those people that a decade on, from colon, that's just what I do. And just trying to find things and hope for the best. But you know, being able to do that and just have that conversation with search is awesome. You can definitely learn more about some of what Robin just showed you at BRK, what is that, 2003. We have a theater session, which is 2016, 2002, another breakout, and then 2001, another breakout as well. And definitely that last one's going to have some awesome surprises in it as well. So coming soon, we're going to be bringing the Microsoft Search experience to Windows as well. So you probably heard me say Microsoft 365 a couple of times versus Office 365 because Microsoft Search encompasses Microsoft 365 apps, services, and beyond, inclusive of Bing and Edge. So Windows Search, you'll get that same great experience via the Windows search box. So effectively, regardless of where you're working, we're going to allow you to search from wherever you're at. And that's what we mean when we say search comes to you. So you don't have to navigate to some search portal to find things. That was the way that you traditionally did things in the past. Your company set up a portal, you had to go to it, you searched there. And that's where you searched. And if you wanted to find something, you found it there, and largely what it found was files stored in SharePoint and OneDrive. But you want to be able to see emails, you want to be able to see attachments, Yammer conversations, you want to see Teams conversations. We're bringing that all together across all of our entry points. So regardless of where you're working, you're going to have the same great experience. So Microsoft Search will be coming to Windows soon as well. And now we're going to switch gears and talk about Bing as one of our many entry points. And that's the important thing to remember. Microsoft Search isn't exclusive to any given entry point. So Microsoft Search isn't exclusive to Bing. It's not exclusive to Outlook. It's not exclusive to SharePoint. It's ubiquitous. It's across all of these apps and services. We're just giving you a variety of different means to be able to participate in this search experience. So if you spend your day in Outlook, you'll have Microsoft Search in Outlook. The benefit of Bing is that if Bing is your default search engine, you can issue your query in the address bar. And that's what the address bar has largely become. If you think about the address bar of the past, you used to type in an address, and you used to go there. And then over the course of time, people realized, hey, I can just type my search query into the address bar. If you're using Microsoft Search in Bing and you're authenticated using your organizational account, you can search there and show results from your organization. So simply just typing in your taskbar, or you can visit bing.com, and you can type it in there, and you can get an awesome image every day. So some of the stuff coming to Bing that we'll talk about is generally available starting now is you can get Microsoft Search in the Bing mobile app. So if you're using the Bing mobile app, you're probably logged in using an MSA, your Microsoft account, and you're using that to earn your rewards and search across the web. But now you can authenticate and you can add your organizational account. So think of it, akin to OneDrive, to where you can have both your MSA and organizational account associated and get the great Microsoft Search results via the Bing mobile app on iOS and Android devices. Rolling out this month, we're going to ship floor plans as well. Robin gave a demonstration of that in the office to where you can pinpoint somebody's location based on those organizational diagrams that exist in your organization. You probably saw a demonstration during the keynote of that as well. Acronym search will be rolling out this month, so if you're looking for Project T or you're looking for what is RPA, you'll be able to find that information. People search with attributes, so Robin gave a demonstration in Office of that. So Robin in Building 31, or Jeff in Building 36, or Nestor, the engineer, being able to find those individuals based on attributes. And that's super powerful, because I remember when I first started at the company a long time ago, and people didn't have a whole lot of time for me, they still don't. They would say, you need to go talk to Jeff in Building 3, and I'm brand new, and then they walk off. So then I need to find Jeff in Building 3, and then I look in the gal, and I do a bunch of filtering, and I find out that there are a lot of Jeffs in the company. So this makes it really easy because I can search across somebody's attributes. Semantic search, again, is coming to Bing as well. This is an example here on the screen is, can I bring my dog to work? And what it surfaced was the pet policy inside of the organization. And then we're also going to be introducing a new enterprise homepage as well as industry news for Bing as well. So with that said, we're going to go right back to demo and have a look at a few of these.
All right, so here I am at the Bing homepage. As Bill said, it's really about bringing the best of search to wherever you are. So if you're a diehard Bing user, thank you. And we want to make search even better for you in that experience. So I'm going to type a query that is pretty tough. So what's the dollar amount match for volunteer hours? And so here's the project Turing that you guys may have saw mentioned earlier today, and it's really that semantic search, understanding not only the human intent behind the query, but the human understanding of the content itself. So in this case, it's kind of a straightforward match, but what happens if I change this? And I'm still able to get that same result, because as people think about the queries differently, they're going to use just whatever comes to mind. And word choice is so important, because if you're just doing straight keyword matches, then you have to get the word right, or you're never going to find it. And so semantic search really is the beginning of what I think of as the sort of the next era for search. And so it's really exciting to be able to bring this in a number of different places across the Microsoft Search ecosystem. Okay. Let's head over to one of my absolute favorite features. How many people are big Power BI users? Okay, how many people know all the Power BI reports and dashboards they have access to? Yeah, one person. I probably have access to thousands of Power BI reports, and the only way I get to them is because I have them saved in email, and I just go to the email and click on the link. And that's not really a great way to get access to your Power BI data. So what I'm showing you here is the ability for us to bring Power BI data directly into the Microsoft Search experience. And in this case, we're reaching deep. We've really identified a key chart or metric that we think best is served by these keywords, and we've sort of allowed Microsoft Search to reach into Power BI and bring that data straight up into it. And so I can take a little bit of peeks at it. Maybe I just need a quick answer. Maybe I want to look at the trend, and it saves from me having to go to Power BI, search around for the report. Now, maybe this wasn't the right report. Maybe it's not the most common one in the company. We have the ability here to basically search across everything that you have access to in Power BI. So again, making it really easy for you to find the data that matters, to find the insights that allow you to take action. And then here you would just click and it would take you right into the native Power BI experience where you can mine and slice the data in the tool sets that's best for those jobs. Thanks.
Awesome. And again, semantic search, I just can't say enough about it. It's one of my favorite things. You know, if you think about keyword matching, I'm matching on monetary, I'm matching on volunteer, and I'm giving you a bunch of static blue links, and many of which may not be relevant. So if you want to get started with semantic search, there's a link up here. It's aka.ms/turing preview. You can nominate your organization there. There's also a QR code if you just want to take a picture and use that. That'll get you to the same place. There's a form to fill out. We're going to ask you a few questions about your organization. And then post-Ignite, we'll start looking through the results and responding to those organizations that are interested in participating in our preview of semantic search across Bing, as you saw here, as well as SharePoint and OneDrive. So you get that same great search experience across all of those. So give you a minute to look at that and take your pictures. Before I move to the next one, we're going to start moving a little bit faster because the roadmap slide's coming up, and that's the one you're going to want to take a picture of, and we've got about 5 minutes. Power BI search, as Robin just showed you, gives you an indication of all of those things that you have access to, as well as those nice little snippets. So if you are looking for information, you can pull that chart right up and get quick access to it. So again, that's a very good example of search not only being actionable, but it's also discovery. So there's kind of this concept of discoverable, finding those things, but also making those things actionable. And then let's talk a little bit about administration and customization as well as ecosystem, because one of the things that's important to search is largely when we came out of Ignite 2018, there was kind of a perception that Microsoft Search is a walled garden. It's just a thing that exists transparently inside of Microsoft 365. However, we don't see Microsoft Search in the same way. We're unifying our administration experience. We're also enabling more and more customization, as we talked about throughout the course of this session, and we still have more to share, as well as empowering the ecosystem. And you know, that's demonstrated most wholly through connectors, which we announced today. So for search administration, we're going to be bringing a cohesive search administration experience to you, what we call admin coherence. Today, you probably navigate across a bunch of different admin consoles in order to fine-tune search. We're bringing that all together into a unified search administration experience. We have a session on that, which is part of our learning path to learn what's new and what's next for administration and management. And then we're also adding user and tenant level feedback. So using feedback to further help improve the search experience. So as you can see here, for example, me as a user searched for vacation, and then I've got my results there. And how was this search? Is it helpful? It didn't, help me find what I'm looking for. So you can, help your administrators fine-tune search to deliver an even better search experience inside of the organization. And then for developers, we announced our Universal Search API on the Microsoft Graph. So our Graph API for search, you can go to GitHub/Microsoft-search. There's 4 examples there that some of our partners have built to get you started, as well as documentation, which is down at the bottom. So you can start building applications on top of Microsoft Search. And again, moving pretty fast in the interest of time, yet giving everybody time to take a picture. You work with me every day. Why are you taking a picture? I can email you. And then graph connectors. Again, the ability to connect across all of these systems. So as you can see here, our partners at BA Insight, Raytheon, and Accenture have done a fantastic job of building. You work with me every day, too. You don't need to take a picture. So we're pulling together all of these connectors, not only across our partners, but from Microsoft as well. So I'll let people take a moment and take a picture. So we have a number of connectors available from us that you can take advantage of, as well as those from our partners. And you can get started today. If you read the blog, there's a link to where you can get started, or you can visit our search booth, and we'll help you get started there. So now, everybody can get their phone out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Roadmap. All right, so here is our roadmap for the remainder of this calendar year, which is the second half. So we are in November, which gives us a little under 2 months to deliver across these. And then we also decided we would let you know what's going to happen in the first half of the upcoming calendar year as well. So that's the what's next of this session. So today you got a glimpse of what's new, which is over here on the left-hand side for H2. Not everything, obviously, because we only had 45 minutes. That's why we have so many search sessions. But now you can also see the what's next. What are we bringing to search next? So new search locations. So Microsoft Teams is going to be a participant in our awesome search experiences. We have new content coming to search as well as new customization and administration opportunities, and in addition, developer and extensibility. So I'll give people just a second for this slide. And then the next thing, you're probably going to want to be able to find all of this stuff. So I know your favorite website right now is probably roadmap.office.com. Many of you probably have that bookmarked, and you've been hitting F5, F5, F5 all morning since 9 a.m. To see what's new. I'm going to spare you that expense, and you can just take a picture of this, and I've given you all of your roadmap IDs that you can search across to make it a lot easier. So you don't have to sit there in F5, 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 or try to search for Microsoft Search. And searching for search in a search box, I have found is difficult. It generally doesn't like it. Nobody seemed to solve that problem yet when I type in search in a search box. And it doesn't want to do what I want it to do. So you don't have to type search in the roadmap.office.com search box. Here are all your roadmap IDs. Additional resources that you can take a look at. We have a Microsoft Search Resource Center on the tech community. It effectively consolidates all of our search resources into one single location. It's got adoption guides and materials. It's got illustrations that you can download to build your own presentations. This presentation will be here. Links to this presentation's recordings, and then we're also publishing demos there as well. So click through demos if you want to experiment with some of what we've shown you. The search blog is there as well. You can read the latest that we announced today. The links to all of the preview programs are in that blog as well. And then again, Microsoft Search on GitHub. So, in wrapping up, where are you going to learn more? This session was intended to give you a glimmer of what is coming with Microsoft Search. However, it was not comprehensive, meaning we didn't show you everything because there's just too much for 45 minutes, as you saw by the roadmap. So where do you go next? You are here at Search 10. Search 20, which is a Tuesday, same time, search for the administrator. You're going to learn all about the new administrative experiences and management. Search 30 is where you're going to learn a ton about semantic search. So you saw what Robin referred to as Turing. It probably shows up in the content catalog today as Project Turing. You can search your Ignite app for Project Turing. Search 30, you're going to learn all about semantic search. Next up is Search 40. So this is all about our graph connectors, and you're going to learn not only from us about our connectors that we talked briefly about, but also from our partners that are building these connectors. And then Search 50, customization and development. This is a must-attend if you are a very SharePoint-centric organization. You're going to learn a lot about what we're doing from a customization perspective, as well as our patterns and practices initiatives as they lend themselves to Microsoft Search. We also have a session on Bing. So if Bing is kind of your primary entry point and you know and love Bing, you can learn more about that at BRK 2022. And then lastly, we have a number of theater sessions. We have theater sessions on graph connectors. So if you don't have an hour to spare, you can just swing into the hub and catch a 20-minute condensed version of what we're doing with connectors, as well as our search API in the graph. And then lastly, we also have one about new people experiences that are powered by not only our graph, but also the LinkedIn graph. So with that, we ended just about on time. I'm going to go ahead and say thank you very much for showing up this afternoon. And thanks to Robin for the awesome demos. None of them failed, which is fantastic. You know, that's always an oddity for events, particularly when you're doing everything in dog food environments. If there are any questions, I heard we do have 30 minutes between now and the next session, so you're welcome to come up and ask or step up to a mic, and we'll see what we can help you with.